Hey guys, welcome back to Endstep. We are talking about last week's game where everyone was playing one of my decks. I have somewhere in the 15-ish commander decks ballpark, maybe more than that at this point. I don't know. Too many. So everyone got first picks. I don't remember how I decided who got to pick first, but I think everyone was pretty content with their picks. Before we get into it, actually, I predicted at the beginning of the game who I thought was going to win. I said Tommy.
Really?
At turn 4, I was like, I should have picked Steven.
Yeah. You have a lot of faith in me.
Well,
after seeing that opening hand, I had a good opening hand.
Turn 1, Amulet of Vigor sets that deck up to basically be unstoppable, because that deck is intentionally designed to be slow with all the tap lands, so there is that. But let's go ahead and go around the table. What made you guys choose the decks you did? Tommy, why don't you start us off? What made you want to choose that deck?
Well, first off, I've never played a 5-color commander deck, so I figured that would be an interesting thing. And then I've always kind of looked at Ramos as a cool dude, just a dragon dude.
He's cool. He's a swell guy.
He's a swell guy. I like it. No, but I just seeing what he can do. Yes, he's slow, but I thought there's potential there. Obviously, I did fairly well in the game, I think.
Yeah, you did.
Yeah, mostly it was just because I have never played a 5-color commander deck before, and I figure something like that, plus with how much just interaction there is in this deck, with all the instant charms and stuff, I figured that would be fun because I try to put a little bit of interaction in my decks, but not a whole lot. So when there's as much in this, I figured that would be a nice change of pace. So overall, it's just kind of different from what I would normally play, and so I figured I'd challenge myself a little bit with something.
What about you, Jason? What made you want to give Muldrotha a try?
I just never really played a deck that deals with the graveyard. I've played mill decks before that mill people, and I have cards in those decks that are do this equal to the number of cards in a graveyard or whatever, but I've never actually played a deck that's
your graveyard is a second hand.
Your graveyard being full. And I love the color combinations. Sultai is one of my favorite colors, combinations. I just thought it'd be a lot of fun. I like what Muldrotha does, and I was really looking forward to it. I should have shuffled better.
Yeah, that's the moral of the story here. And there were 38 lands in the deck. It's just bad luck, unfortunately. Steven, what about you? What made you want to play dragons?
Well, first of all, dragons. Second of all, it's basically a dragon type version of my Simic deck, where it's kind of tokens. It's also
doubling in tokens.
Dragon tribal, which dragons are really cool. You really popped off
in episode 3.
Yeah, in tribal week, and I've always liked this deck. Like when you made it, I've always liked it, and I've never really got to play it before now. So. And now this deck has played 2 games in our series and has won both.
So I think I should bring it back for Revenge Week.
No.
What about you, Preston?
So I think it was just a first come, first serve, and I was maybe going to do Muldrotha, but Jason already picked that one. And I've always liked Atraxa, so this was my second choice. The way I would have built it would be more Planeswalker focused, but I still like what it does with the whole proliferating and all that.
Yeah, there's a couple Planeswalkers in the deck, but I thought it would be more powerful to just go for big chunkers. Yeah. So there are a couple Planeswalkers in there, but not a ton. So unfortunately, I think 2 of the decks did really well, and then the other 2 didn't quite get there. So Tommy and Steven, I think you guys had pretty good games. You guys really got to kind of get the wheel spinning and do what the deck is going to do, especially Steven. And then I feel like Preston and Jason didn't quite get there. But with that said, I still think it was a pretty decent game. Does anyone have a favorite moment from the game?
Winning? I don't know.
No, that was pretty miserable, if I'm being honest.
It's pretty miserable for the rest of us.
My favorite moment from the game was right at the end when I got Muldrotha out, and I was like, you know what? I'm going to make Steven mill some cards.
Yeah.
I cast that artifact from my graveyard. I was like, you know what? I did something to you, pal. Eat it.
Just figuring out right at the end there that I'm like, oh, actually, it's not a guaranteed loss for me right at the beginning of Steven's turn, and then he did more things. But that was pretty good. But honestly, I did like when I got to regenerate Ramos, even though it wasn't as a big of a splash as it could have been.
Right.
Still, it's just nice being able to be actually, no, you don't kill my commander.
if the video was popular enough, I think it would be really funny if we made a shirt that said exotic. It was Exotic Orchard and it said everyone's favorite board wipe.
Everyone's favorite board wipe, Exotic Orchard. Yeah, that was good.
That would be pretty funny, but I don't think.
There's our first merch whenever we get.
I don't think that's probably worth. I don't think that's probably worth doing.
Don't do it on a shirt. Make it like a little button or something.
Yeah.
I might buy that.
So, what do you guys think about trying other people's decks? Like, I'm sure this isn't the first time anyone's done this before, but like, just in general, what's your experience been whenever you do that?
I think it's been obviously really fun for me, but
yeah, because you just chose the same deck you already had with red added.
and dragons.
So this is just Steven talks about how he won the game every single time the episode.
I think it'd be really cool if for season 2 we do this, but with Preston's decks.
Oh yeah,
I think that'd be really cool.
We're already planning on that.
Oh,
but
okay. I think that'd be really fun because Preston's has got a lot of really cool decks.
I just like overall seeing kind of how like other people's sort of ideas and what they look for when they build a deck is an interesting thing to see, because it's just, you could give two people the same commander and odds are they're not going to build the same deck. That could be, obviously depending on the commander, they could be wildly different, and it's just how the game works. And so seeing someone else's sort of
look at that Ramos deck. No one else has built a Ramos deck like that, probably.
Well, yeah, exactly. So it's just it's an interesting way to look at Ramos and what he can do that Morgan has.
I like playing other people's decks because you kind of get an opportunity to play in a particular way that maybe you're not used to. You got to step outside your comfort zone a little bit, and then you see cards that you may not have seen before. Like you draw a card, you're like, oh, what is this? What is this? And it can kind of give you another perspective, like on Tommy said, on how to build decks. Like if you're going through the cards, like I wouldn't have thought to put that card in this deck. That's interesting choice.
Basic Forest. Never would have thought of that one.
Hey, no, right? It's fun. I enjoy playing with other people's cards.
What do you think you can learn from, not necessarily just this game, but just this experiment in general? Like, what kind of lesson do you think you can get out of it as a player, a deck builder? What do you think the potential there is for a learning experience?
Never keep a hand that only has 2 lands in it.
Jason, we already knew that.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Even if you have Steve, don't keep it.
Don't keep it. For me, I think it's just that. Wow, I had a train of thought and it just completely escaped me.
Excellent.
Learning experience.
My brain just. I know. I remember the question.
Steven or Preston?
There's always something new you can learn about yourself and the game of Magic. Mm-hmm. And this is a good way to sort of push yourself into learning those things.
Mm-hmm.
What was the question again?
Wow. We are tired.
A little bit of what he said with, both of them, with specific cards that might be in the deck that you didn't think about. Maybe playing different color combinations, because I've never played green, blue, red before, and I would never think of building a deck of green, blue, red. Mm-hmm. But it was very fun and very interesting. And just playing different ways.
Just the value of knowing what you have in a deck is it kind of playing another deck that you didn't build can sometimes take that away from you. Obviously, we had Morgan here to help us with that, and that was but that even then shows the value of that. And so maybe that obviously that's better for like a newer player, but really knowing what you have in the deck is an important factor when you go into a game. And so like we got to play a practice game with these decks a few weeks ago, and
that was a concern I had, and that's why I encouraged that we do the a test game, and why I sent you guys the deck lists early so you could look them over, is because this game, I don't know what it's going to look like time-wise when it's edited, but unedited, this is like an hour and 15-minute long game. And I feel like if people didn't look at the decks ahead of time, it would probably would have been like a 2-hour game, because everyone would be like, oh, what's everything do? So that was a concern I had, so I'm glad we did that. Mm-hmm. The last question I had for the day was, what do you guys think about this theme? We're starting to think about what possible options we have for Season 2. I think this would be a fun theme to bring back. Not necessarily mine. I definitely have enough decks that we could do me again. But we could, everyone plays one of Preston's decks. Everyone plays one of Steven's decks. Or, like something like that. Or maybe a twist on it would be like everyone bring a deck, pass it to the person to the left.
You stopped saying names as soon as you looked at Tommy.
Well, I have 4 decks to my name currently, so.
No, your decks aren't good.
Also that.
You're going to have one good deck, so whoever picks Ishin wins.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah, whoever picks Ishin has a chance.
It's going to be me, by the way.
But what do you guys think about maybe doing that again in season 2 and either doing me again or picking a different player at the table? I mean, is this something that was interesting enough that you guys would be interested in doing again? And do you think the viewers would think it's interesting? Like,
I would like to sit in your spot and just watch people play the decks that I've built.
Mm-hmm.
You know, just it would be interesting to see.
I think 4 of your decks going against each other with people inexperienced with playing them, it's probably going to be the longest game we've ever played in this group.
Either that or
No,
it'll be
it
the
won't.
fastest game.
Yeah.
Tommy, you forget that every time he plays his Joyra deck, we see the entire deck.
That's
Whoever gets
true.
that deck has
That's true.
Whoever gets that deck has an advantage. 1, because it's a strong deck, but then 2, we already know what's in it.
That's true, yeah. Yeah.
I don't know. I kind of tune out whenever he plays one of his decks.
Yeah, I did too. I just kind of like to fade
an
out.
option.
I'm just,
Oh, yeah, I obviously would not let Light Pause be a choice.
yeah.
But I think it'd be fun to do it again with
Absolutely,
anyone's
yeah.
other than mine, obviously. But
So for the viewers at home, leave a comment on who you would want us to do that with, because I think we're on board with doing the theme again, but who would you want to do? Let's go around the table. If you could vote, who would your top 2 picks be for who we would do? I would actually say either Jason or Steven. Because mostly because Steven's Shadrick's deck, the Shadrick Silverquill deck, is really cool, and I've never played it.
Yeah, I haven't busted that deck out yet. I really like that
So
deck. I don't bust it out that
those would be
often,
my
so-
top 2 for who we would do. But let's go around the table and see what you guys think. And then viewers at home, comment and let us know who you would like to see us do.
probably Preston or Jason. I'd want to play. There's no offense to Steven, but
no, that's okay. I get it.
They have, especially Preston. I don't think I've seen all of your decks that you have.
I would also vote for either Preston or Jason,
Right.
personally.
So.
Yeah, but I would me or Preston. Not to sound conceited, but I build cool decks.
I don't mind sounding conceited. I definitely would like to be one of the options. I like my decks.
Either one of those situations could be really cool, but we'll let the viewers at home tune in. And I'm sure that will be a game that we film later on in season 2, so we have time to collect the data and decide later.
We could even have a poll for it.
Yeah, we could either even do a poll. But yeah, I hope you guys have enjoyed this series. I forgot to mention.
It's not
this.
over yet.
My train of thought. I forgot to mention. I vaguely mentioned it at the beginning of this episode of Upkeep, but Revenge Week is coming up. It's going to be the last episode of season 2. It's not the next episode, but the episode after that. It's the season 1 finale. Everyone's bringing back their favorite deck that they didn't win with. There was a little bit of weight on this game that we played, because if Preston won this game and the next game, he would not get to be in Revenge Week because we are doing it based on win percentages. The four worst
Losers
players.
are decking it out.
Yes, that.
Jason's too good for his own good.
Yeah.
Too good.
So it is now decided, because of this game, that Revenge Week will be Tommy, myself, Steven, and Preston for Revenge Week. With that said, what's everyone thinking for Revenge Week? Does everyone know for sure what they're bringing back yet?
Oh yeah.
I know you're
Ishin.
bringing back Ishin.
I'm bringing back Ishin. I gotta do my boy right. I have that deck in
I'm
its
still
form.
deciding.
Yeah. That deck in its form was
for
mostly
me-
stuff I had.
For me, it's either going to be Adrix and Nev or Ronos. Adrix and Nev, although did pretty well, it's done so much better before. And budget week, if I bring Ronos back, it won't be a budget version, first of all. And second of all, during that game, I got mana screwed like crazy. And so I feel like that deck definitely deserves another chance. I feel like it's one of those two, but I haven't decided yet.
I'm probably bringing back Kozilek. I'm waiting until we film episode 11, because I think that game is going to be really cool. And if my deck does poorly, I want to bring that back. But otherwise, I'm bringing Kozilek back from episode 6.
And I'm gonna bring a positive attitude.
That's the spirit.
He's just gonna sit in that chair and point and laugh at us the whole game.
Freaking losers!
Well, on that positive note, thanks for watching. I hope you guys are having a lot of fun. We have a couple episodes left in season 1. Season 2 will be, we don't have a set release date, but if you have specific topics you want us to hit, it's not too early to start letting us know. And we will see you next week with the next game. We are doing a random 2-color spin for 2-color pairing decks. That's going to be fun. See you then.